Learn how to convert a 24-hour clock into a 12-hour clock and display AM or PM. The get hours method returns the hour in 24-hour format. If you look at what we currently have, you can see 13 corresponds to 1 PM, the minutes and then the second. So this is how the get hour usually returns time. So it returns time, it returns the hour in a 24-hour format. And many digital clocks display time in 12-hour format with AM or PM. So in this lesson, we will learn how we can convert the hour and determine whether it is morning or afternoon. So let's move straight into our JavaScript code, which is inside our main.js, and look at what we currently have. So with what we currently have, we want to look at how we can actually make our JavaScript code better in order to utilize a way to display the time, whether we are in the morning or in the afternoon. So I am going to just move into where we have the show time function. And we already are creating a date object. And after this date object, we have let's hours equals dob dot get hours. And now let's add another variable. Let's say period. This should be whether we are in AM or PM. And now that we have this, it's time for us to use conditional to check so that the clock will know when to switch into PM or into AM. So we are going to make use of if statement to check and say if hours is greater or equals to 12, then the period should be PM. Then we move on and say if hours is greater than 12, then hours should be hours minus 12. Or we can use a shorthand and do it like this. 12. And then let's add another one and say if hours is equal to 0, then hours is equals to 12. Fine. So now, with what we currently have initially, we're going to have to modify this since we already have it here. And the way we are going to modify it is that we no longer need to set it as a variable since it's already a variable. So just call the name that we have up here and say string into hours dot path stats. Then 2 and 0. And we're good to go. And now we already have this. So let's just go ahead and add a period to what we currently have. Seconds. Add space. And then add period. Now let's see. Currently, you can see that our period is already shown. I can come up here and then pass in my function show time. Now I want to check why this clock stops working. Show is not defined. So the browser got stuck. Actually, that was the reason why. And now look at our digital clock now. We can see that everything has returned to how it was working before. Now we know whether we're in the morning or in the afternoon. So currently, because this is 1:19 in the afternoon, then it is the period for this time is now PM. And the reason why it is PM is because if you look at the conditions that we have here, we already said that if hours is greater than 12 or equals to 12, then period is PM. Then if hours is greater than 12, hours is hour minus 12. Then if hours equals to 0, then hours is 12. So this is the format that we are checking the condition against. And now successfully our digital clock is working back. So to make this look like a typical digital clock that we know, we just basically convert this into a 12-hour format. So first, we check whether the hour is 12 or greater. If it is, we set period to PM. Otherwise, it remains AM. Next, we also check if the hour is greater than 12. We subtract 12 to convert it. We also add midnight because get hours return 0 at midnight, and that is the purpose of this last conditional statement. But on a 12-hour clock, midnight should display as 12. And so finally, we format the hour with past start method, which is this, and append the AM or PM label to the end of time at where we are actually displaying the time. So successfully, we have learned how we can display time either in AM or PM. Or better still, we have learned how to display digital clock with period using JavaScript to manipulate or to make our digital clock dynamic. Now, here are a few key takeaways from this lesson. Number one, the getAs method returns the hour and 24-hour format. We can convert to a 12-hour format using simple if statements. Number two, AM represents times before noon. Number three, PM represents times from noon onward. And lastly, midnight should be displayed as 12 in a 12-hour clock. And that is what we set to 0. So we use this condition to check. If this is equals to 0, then it will be midnight in this digital clock.